brand new digs.
Dude, welcome to it. How's everyone?
Welcome back to another episode of Nostalgia Land.
All I heard was, in my head was, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back.
What is that from?
I think it's a song.
Fair enough, dude.
It's just Trey in his room. Here's another song.
Hey,
Welcome back.
Yeah, we're back in the playroom, boys. This is about to get silly.
This is your domain. This is where
This
you
is
exist.
about to get silly.
What's your favorite type of tacos? Is it chicken or carne asada? Carne asada.
You're an idiot.
That's a matter of perspective, my friends.
That's true. That's true.
Oh man,
A matter of conditioning, a matter of fact.
well, welcome back. Thanks for joining us. We got some old digs and a new digs here now. We are back in the playroom. We
Woo!
went back to the playroom.
We did.
This is where it all originally happened. Too much, probably. Maybe not enough.
Yeah, this is not where the magic happened.
Yeah.
Thank the Lord.
No magic. No
It passed
magic
the
here.
ammunition.
Yeah. No. But
Praise the Lord, pass the ammunition.
Yep. So welcome back after 3 weeks off. You know, that Christmas break, that New Year's break turned into a week after break.
How was holidays, everybody?
how was
It's wonderful. You?
How was New Year's?
How was New Year's? I was at my wife's brother's house till like an ungodly hour.
Till like 4 a.m.
I always tell my wife every year. Well, she was my girlfriend before that. I'm like, okay, we're gonna go to your brother's house. Can we leave at like 1:30? Because like I get tired and like all they're gonna do after
What
that
are
is
you, like 100?
no, but like all they're gonna do after that is play dominoes, and like I suck at
I
dominoes.
just want my
yeah.
sleepies.
Well, I just suck at dominoes, so it's like.
It's the only reason you don't
Trey's like,
stay.
can we go home at like 1:30? I want to play Call of Duty.
Yeah, I don't want to play dominoes. I'm good at Call of Duty. I'm not. Well, I'm better at Call of Duty than I am at dominoes.
Can we play like Cards Against Humanity?
But then her brother's always like, "Oh, come play. Like, we'll teach you. You be good." And like, I end up playing. Like, I look down. I'm like, "Holy shit! It's 3:45 in the morning."
It's so late. It's so late.
And people are still shooting fireworks up into the air.
Oh yeah, dude.
My neighborhood is the best for fireworks.
There's nobody. Oh,
Because
nobody does any fireworks.
Everybody does fireworks.
It's a good because our neighborhood was pretty lame actually. We didn't have anybody going off. Like nobody
It
came
is
out.
insanity from the moment the sun goes away. And then at midnight, it's just
Bones.
ridiculous.
Jack, where'd the sun go?
Yeah. There's no sun. We died and this is hell. In case you guys didn't know, we will be covering In the Army Now with
it's one-
Pauly Shore
it's one of my
today.
favorite
We
movies.
will be getting to that. Yeah, dude.
It's probably
definitely.
like top 15 movie of all time for
Easy.
me. Like,
Easy.
That's kind of
This movie's,
sad.
this movie's so good.
So first there's Schindler's List.
Yeah.
And then what? The Avengers, Infinity
There's,
War,
like, Citizen
and then
Kane.
Citizen Kane. Yeah.
Shawshank Redemption.
Never-
Number
In the
5.
Army Now.
In the
Matrix,
Army
and then in the Army now.
Now. Shawshank Redemption.
I don't know if it's that high, but after watching this movie, I watched this movie so much when I was younger. It's crazy.
You know what this movie strikes me as? A poor man's Stripes.
Yeah.
see,
well,
the
it's just a
problem
90s
is-
man stripes
It
is
is.
what it is. Yeah. But
it's,
problem
it's
is-
pretty poor man's when you compare it to Stripes.
just 2 actual stripes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get
Problem
you.
is, I've never seen Stripes.
Yeah, you
Oh
should really
my
watch that.
gosh,
That's a funny
dude.
movie.
Yeah.
Now, this is a great movie.
Oh my
I mean,
gosh.
it's terrible, but it's great.
But Pauly Shore is just in such rare form.
I like this movie especially for Pauly Shore because he doesn't go full like weasel.
Yes.
Really hardly at all.
But he's
Yes.
a crazy boy.
Right. Like
Yeah.
there's like these hints of the weasel in there, but
Yeah.
he's just Pauly Shore. Like he seems like his normal self. Like
Brendan Fraser makes another
another
Encino Man
cameo.
cameo.
Love that. No.
Yeah.
So wait, before we get into that, I had to ask with like, what the hell is going on? It is only at the time of this recording. It is only the 15th.
Right.
All right. What is going on with this year so far? Like we had first week freaking aliens at our local mall at Bayside. And what's funny about that, like, is
Kids were hitting each other with sticks.
yeah, is the story is they came, like, it was a gang with sticks and fireworks, and they were shooting at each other. That was apparently enough.
we used to
send
call that Harry
40
Potter
cops.
War.
400,000
Yeah.
guys.
Call that Harry
400
Potter
caps.
Wars.
Yeah, we did. We used to shoot
Expelliarmus.
Roman candles at each other.
Those were beautiful times, man. And now I think about doing that, I'm like, I don't have the insurance for this.
now I think about doing that, and I'm like, I'll see you guys in the operating room on Tuesday.
That's right.
But we got a buddy in law enforcement. We're all in a group chat, and I was just like, it was so quiet because I was like, nobody's asking what? No, like he's our guy. Like if something's going down,
He's the go-to.
We text him and be like, "What's going on?" And nobody was texting. So like finally, like after 2 days, I was just like, "Fine, I'll ask the question." What the hell was going on at Bayside? And he was like, if you can answer, just answer. If you don't know, that's fine. Because I'm trying to respect his position, right?
Can't tell us everything.
And he was silent.
That's G14 classified.
For like an alien. Yeah.
For an alien?
For like an alien. Yeah, yeah. He was silent for like an hour, about anything. And so I just immediately assumed it was like, I understand. Yeah, I get you. Your silence.
Fair enough.
Speaks
that's
volumes.
just him. That's just him not checking his phone.
Yeah, that's not being a social media guy. That's honestly. But yeah, so we had aliens. We got. Did you see like all the drones? Like people were saying there's drones falling out of the sky. Like there was asteroids came over Florida. Like we're in trouble.
There was a giant solar flare.
There's a solar flare is going to knock out.
That did nothing.
Yeah. What was Goku doing up there? Solar flare.
and you saw like now NASA has the technology to look like at the sun through all the brightness of the sun.
Oh, Jesus.
And they found like a giant black like hole in the sun, like the sun's butthole was there.
Oh my gosh, dude.
And a giant solar flare came out of it, like the sun farted at us. and nothing. And they were like, watch out, it's going to happen. And then it was like... like nothing happened when it got here.
Wait.
Tyler, you bring science alive.
I do. It's from it's the Magic School Bus that got me here where I am today. Cherry's over here watching the movie. Yeah, okay. Since we were in the playground, we got it running in the background.
I just really like this movie.
You just really like this movie. Yeah. No, it's a great movie. That's the thing. So like, yeah. So we're back in the playroom. We got it set up. This is where we used to, I mean, this was the haven. This was the Mecca for me, especially growing up, because there's every kind of movie. Every kind of
we found
video
this
game.
movie.
We literally. Well, we just got set up tonight, and we're like, "What do we got? Do we have it? Do we have it?" And it's like, "I'm sure we do somewhere." He starts flipping through catalogs. Tyler, can you grab one of those catalogs back there, just so we can show people what you used to do back in the day? If you really want to have, don't worry, I won't show this footage of you.
You son of a bitch. Yeah, so there's just this is a small one actually, just binders and binders.
That's binder light right there.
Yeah,
I will say
the other ones are literally like this tall.
I will say our older brother was great, at least about keeping the insert from the DVD.
Yeah,
I believe the
cover.
word is anal.
Well,
or
that's
OCD
gross.
about this.
But
now we know who you are as a person.
Well,
Trey.
yeah.
But at least they make it easy to find. Because could you imagine having to pull each individual disc out? Be like, movie is this?
Oh,
Damn
dude,
it. What movie is this? Damn it.
Or like having to pop it in and like wait for your PS2 to like, or had to find the cables. Like
we got it.
Oh my God, we had a time tonight trying to set up. I should have came yesterday and done some work, but yeah, it was fun tonight. We're setting up, and I realized like I'm missing this cable. I'm missing this like SD card. I'm missing this thing, and we literally just start Frankensteining equipment all around the room.
It's the electronics junkyard. That's what this is.
Pull it together.
It's the incredible part that we were able to do it.
Yeah, we really did.
If we got some coats of paint and ripped up the carpet, we can make this a Radio Shack.
Oh, we totally.
And then we would go out of business because nobody would come.
But that'd be hilarious if just a Google Map pin showed up and it was like, why is there a Radio Shack?
Why is the
of
last Radio Shack in this guy's
That's a
basement?
residential
area.
Oh my
gosh, dude, that'd be hilarious. That'd be hilarious if we did that. We could just see people and call it that. We could call it the last Radio Shack.
I wouldn't want to sell anybody any of my stuff.
You want to
seriously?
I just look at touches the cost.
It's a museum.
This is mine. I'm not giving it away.
This is what Radio Shack was, but you can't touch it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Radio Shacks out of business, I saw that the Best Buy here down your area is gone too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's because they redid the one over by the Dayland area.
Oh, yeah?
It's like huge now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, dang. I didn't
realize
that.
But like they're in a lot of Best Buys, they're taking their physical medium out of the actual store.
Yeah.
But I thought
everything is digital.
I thought they were big for like appliances and stuff.
You can buy everything online these days.
Yeah, I like to see it.
I do too, especially with things like that. Like when it comes to, okay, this is like this has to physically exist. Like movies, video games, fine. I'm okay. I can have those. But like if I want to see my fridge,
It's like
I
we
wanna know
live
what
on
the
like
fridge
the
is
astral
for.
plane. I know that's I understand what you're saying. It's like digital media, but
Yeah.
if it doesn't physically exist, like
Does it exist?
it's like Harry Potter where you like pull the string out.
Put it in the glowing
Put it in the
pan.
bowl. Put it in the bowl.
Put it in the bowl.
Take
my
them.
tears up and watch
Take
my
them.
memories.
Yeah.
pick.
What'd you
right.
just put in the bowl? Oh, I put Police Academy 7 in there.
Yeah, I don't want to forget that.
Yeah, don't hang on to that one. It's gonna be
Most of what would go in my bowl are quotes from this movie.
No, you know that's right.
I didn't realize how many of these quotes I use. Like when we play video games online, I use so many of these.
Okay.
Like there's a part.
Go on.
There's a part in the movie. Okay, we'll go through kind of like what the movie's about. It's a Pauly Shore movie where there's these two guys, Andy Dick and Pauly Shore, Bones and Jack, and they.
Yeah.
Not in that order.
They live in Glendale, California, and they work at like a Radio Shack. That's what they work at.
Yeah.
And
They work at the Crazy Boys.
Yeah, they work at Crazy Boy. But they're like screw ups, and they get fired because Pauly Shore destroys 22 TV.
I was gonna say they're not so much screw ups as Pauly Shore is Pauly Shore.
He's just being himself,
But
man.
and then they're playing mini golf after they get fired, and they run into two guys from the Army Reserve, and they're like.
He keeps rubbing on that dude's head and stuff.
Yeah.
That part got me.
touching me, dude. I'm gonna knock your ass out.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Yeah.
Dude, if Pauly Shore rubbed my head while I was playing mini golf, and why are two dudes from the Army Reserves just
That
hanging
was
out
my
playing
thing,
mini
like,
golf with each
in
other?
They're
full,
good friends.
Are
like,
they not going to Chad?
But like,
they're not
is it
going to
hot in
Chad. I'm with you there, Tyler. Yeah,
So they go into the Army Reserves and they join water purification, and then there's a desert war in Chad, and they have to go. But there's a part where they get like an emergency airdrop, and there's two doom buggies like that.
Yeah.
And we play Call of Duty, and in the new Call of Duty map with zombies, there's doom buggies. So every time we grab one, I'm
Oh
like,
my
oh,
gosh.
check out these doom buggies. These things are intense.
I didn't even think of that with you and the Dune buggies.
Check out these
That's
sweet Dune
hilarious.
buggies.
Yeah. So this, I mean, we need to take a moment and like recognize 1994 as
94.
an amazing year.
A lot of the movies that we've done over the past 6 months have been from '94.
has been 94.
Yeah.
Like, what did we get right? Like, they're so good.
The 90s were
So
freedom.
many of them. Yeah. And like, I guess it was still like there was new like ideas to venture, but this is, I would say, I would agree with you, is kind of a remake of Stripes.
Yeah,
It's
a
a
little bit.
90s Stripes, because
Just a little bit.
if you want to think about, Bill Murray was the 70s and 80s Bill Murray. Bill Murray is Bill Murray. And then Pauly Shore, if you got to think of somebody that like completely represents like the 90s, early 90s mentality.
Early 90s, yeah.
Yeah, early
For sure.
90s mentality. Like the dude who would be like, that is the voice of a generation. It's Pauly Shore.
It's sad, but
It's
probably
Pauly
true.
Shore.
Pauly Shore, Jim Carrey.
Yeah, Pauly Shore and Jim Carrey. But like, I think like because of like the way that he's like, you know, that's SoCal, Southern California, like Earth and everything is good, like it's cool, man, like relax. Like in terms of the humor, yeah, Jim Carrey. But like I think Paul McCartney.
Paul
like,
McCartney?
Paul
I was
McCartney.
like, those are
Pauly
two
Shore.
very different. Those are two.
Pauly Shore embodies like
Mandela effect right there.
yeah. Oh, you want to talk about the Mandela effect?
And how it's not real.
Yeah,
It's
not
a ploy.
Yeah.
Dude,
Just
how
like-
crazy is that Fruit of the Loom story?
Yeah, it's insane.
Dude, tell me about that again.
Well, yeah.
so
So there was a woman who was saying that Fruit of the Loom's logo used to have a cornucopia behind it, and I thought the same thing, but everybody said no, and Fruit of the Loom came out and said no, our logo never included a cornucopia, and she was she's like, I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
Like and so she looked through clothes, she contacted friends, family members, went through their clothes, and she found the logo with the cornucopia.
Yeah.
Then she went back into the trademarks for Fruit of the Loom for their original logo, and it was there with a cornucopia. And it's like, why would Fruit of the Loom lie about
Yeah, like, what
this?
the hell?
Why are you
Like, what's
lying
the
about
point? Like, oh no, we have a thing against cornucopias.
It's like, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of that meme where it's the Uno people say, like, you can't put a plus two on a plus two.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, look, you made the game, we'll take it from you. All right? You don't know how to play.
Listen, look
It's
at me.
fine.
My favorite of that is, look at me. I'm the captain.
I'm the
now.
captain.
No. If you want to know how to destroy a family in an hour, play Uno.
No, you don't play Uno.
Yeah.
You don't play Uno.
What do you play?
You play Mario Party.
Where'd you get the pink 50s, Dana?
Oh my
Shut up, Grandpa.
gosh,
Nana
dude.
is a cheating whore.
Well, that's Monopoly.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah.
But if you play Mario Party, you'll end your friendship.
Yeah,
What
we
did they say
nearly
the most stressful
Mario
video game
Kart.
is Mario Kart?
Yeah.
Actually,
Ever
we just
since
got
they
that.
introduced,
I got beat by a 4-year-old
ever
the other
since
day.
they introduced that damn blue shell,
It's
because
true.
it's like, what's the point of being in first? You're just gonna
You're
lose.
just gonna get hit by that blue. Well, I think that's been the hardest part about parenting for me.
Finding the blue shell?
What?
No. Has been I introduced.
It's the itch to use the blue shell.
Yeah. I found out. No, so we got for our girls this year, we got the Switch.
Yeah.
And we got Mario Kart, of course, Mario Kart 8.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
And I got to say, the hardest thing about being a father is watching how garbage my kids are at Mario Kart. And just being like, what are you doing?
That's funny.
Hop. Like, you got to skid into the... No, turn. Like, what do you think? You got a red shell. Throw it. Throw it. And I'm just yelling at them. I had to like calm myself down. I was like, Daddy needs a minute. I'm just going to go in the back room.
Dad's going to like, give Dad the Switch real quick. He goes in and like golds all over. He's like, okay, at least they're here and the medals and we got, okay, here you go.
No, my oldest one was like, Dad, I'm trying. And I'm like, I know you're trying. I got to go outside.
How old are your girls?
We got 8 and 5.
Yeah, that's really sad because I literally was at a buddy's house and his son was like, you want to play Mario? I'm like, okay. He's like, he's gonna play Mario Kart with you. I'm like, okay, cool. And he's like, he could beat you. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm good. And it was on like one of the like maybe it was the Switch or something. I don't know. It was like something you had to like turn. I think it was somebody's old like Wii U or something.
Yeah, Mario Kart Wii.
Where you had to like literally turn the controller.
That game's
like,
hard.
super weird like to control.
You can turn that off. But
This kid just beats the hell out of me at Mario Kart. I'm in like last place and he's crossing the line first. I'm like, he's 4 years old.
He's crossing the line first backwards.
Yeah, so like the next weekend I was back at their house and he was like, hey, you want to play Mario? And I'm like, yes. So we sat down and I came in first in like every single race. And I was like, okay, we're good.
You just hear slowly swelling behind Tyler, just generals gathered in their masses.
And it was T-Pain.
Yeah, it was T-Pain. It wasn't Black Sabbath.
He just rose up from behind the couch.
Let's talk about T-Pain just for one moment.
Dude, that special put out on YouTube, man.
Bro. I mean, I just want him to do more covers, especially those hard rock songs.
I saw him, like, my first 3 years at Florida State. I must have seen him live, like, 4 times.
Oh, that's cool.
I remember when that first season of that show, The Masked Singer, came out, and he was the monster. Bridget was watching it. And I walked spoilers for season 1 of The Masked Singer, by the way.
I hate that show.
In case you didn't know, if we mentioned something, be ready for spoilers.
Yeah, I already screwed up the last rodent for a bunch of people.
A lot of people.
Bad.
Our number one comment.
So oops. So we went to. I walked through the living room and I'm like, "What is this?" And she's like, "Oh, it's a show called The Masked Singer where like actors or like football players or whatever they can sing. It's kind of like Dancing with the Stars but with singing." And I was like, oh, cool. She's like, yeah, this is the guy that like everybody loves. And she started playing, and I was like, that's T-Pain. And she's like, no, it's not. I'm like, that's T-Pain.
That's T-Pain.
And she's like, nuh-uh. And I was like, okay. And sure enough, like 8 weeks later, I'd already forgotten about it, blah, blah, blah. And I see it on Instagram, like, oh my God, look at the reveal. And Bridget comes in the room and she's like, how did you know that was T-Pain? And I was like, because I've heard him sing without autotune. He's really good.
Yeah, he's really good.
And she's
T-Pain.
like,
all I can think about now, though, whenever I hear T-Pain, is the Lonely Island on a boat video
On a boat.
where he's like, oh man, I won a cruise day trip on a boat for 3 people.
who should I take?
Who are you gonna take? I'm gonna take Jack, and it's the 2 guys sitting there, and he's like, and T-Pain.
Cool. And he's wearing the top hat.
Yeah, the old T-Pain look.
Oh my gosh, dude.
With like the giant Oakleys and the top hat.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but I hate that show. That
Masked
Singer show.
Oh, I've never actually sat down and watched it.
Oh man, it reminds me of Deal or No Deal. Hated that show too, because the whole thing is like, is it that one? No.
Oh, that's a Nick Schwartzen bit.
Yeah.
Where he talks about Deal or No Deal.
No, because Deal
is there money in that one? How about that one?
No, it's not. And this thing is the same thing with Masked Singer. It's like, is it Fergie? No, it's not Fergie.
It's not Fergie.
Oh, next week.
There's no like.
Is it?
No stakes.
Yeah, there's no stakes.
No. There's nothing
Is
about
it Jack Black?
No, man,
And,
we
like,
need. That's why The Price is Right's still on.
Yeah, no, and like they don't. I don't think. Do they win? I don't think they win money or anything. Like at least it's like, okay, if they win, they donate to charity or something like that. No, it's just like, oh, they won, yay! Nick Cannon has another kid. Great.
Well, I mean, that's gonna happen on a Tuesday.
60% of the Earth's population is loosely related to Genghis Khan, and the other 40% is related to Nick Cannon.
Dude.
Who had a busier night on Christmas, Santa or Nick Cannon?
It's close.
Oh my lord!
Because there's a lot of Jewish kids, so
kind of balance things out.
Yeah.
You're leaving it up to the Jewish kids to balance
Santa versus Nick Cannon.
Santa versus Nick Cannon. Oh, I'm just worried we're all going to be related to a Duggar. Like, I also like if my kids go to college and they come back, like, oh, I met this really nice boy. Where's he from? Utah. Hold on a second.
Yeah, give me a minute.
Give me a minute. What's his last name? Oh, he says he changed it. What was it originally?
He changed it.
Will he full on hug you when you guys see?
A Duggar.
Will he hug you when you guys see each other? Or is it cut off to the side?
A little side hug. Oh man. Well, let's get to the movie then. Okay, so I'm with you.
But like, I use so many quotes from this, like thanks for explaining it. Like, I use that constantly.
Oh, thanks for explaining it.
I was thinking about it long and hard. I don't think that there's a wet noodle in this movie.
No, everyone's doing
Andy
their job.
Dick's character, but it's kind of on purpose.
Yeah, Andy Dick plays the character. Like, I don't think there's a wet noodle.
Yeah.
The wet noodle is the person that it just misses the mark with their acting ability.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anybody in this movie. Lori Petty is fantastic.
She's hilarious.
Maybe
David
the
Allen
kid,
Greer is in full like
David Allen Greer-ness.
in the pocket of David Allen Greer. Perfect, like normal but super quirky and weird. Pauly Shore is the same in every movie.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna say anything that David Allen Greer's in, and he screams the way he screams, like Jumanji.
There's a scorpion
is
on my
hilarious.
back.
That whole like that kind of scream like gets me every time. That is hilarious.
What are you afraid of, Fred? I'd say damn near everything.
Damn near everything. Yes. I love that part.
David Allen Greer plays a dentist named Fred who joined the Army Reserves at the request of his therapist.
To face his fears. He's so afraid of everything.
And he's like, so I talked to my therapist, and he said, why not join the Army Reserves?
Yeah.
Be all you could be.
So it's Pauly Shore.
On the weekend.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. So, so it's Pauly Shore and Andy Dick, and they start out working. They're working at a Radio Shack, like we said.
Yeah, and they get fired.
Get
because
fired.
Pauly
Crazy
Shore,
boys.
Yeah, because Pauly Shore knocks over 22 TV sets, but those things probably come with warranties.
He does it.
Andy Dick needed to get punched in the face so hard in that moment.
But like, I feel like that's how he would be in like real life. Like, he'd be the guy that would grab the video camera and start to like
I
film
think he'd
you
be
and your
way worse
girlfriend.
than that, but
So
that vibe
Yeah, like,
all the way
dude,
through
get
the
outta
core.
here, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's give some context for that scene. So he knows he's going to get fired because his boss is looking for him.
Yeah, and he gets his girlfriend to come ask for him by name in the store.
Yeah.
Because the guy says that he's not selling anything to anybody.
And nobody would believe that a girl as hot as Gabriella would be dating Pauly Shore.
You know who that is? That's Ivana Humpala.
That's right. Yes, it is.
I thought it was
Austin Powers.
I thought it was Salma Hayek.
She does kind of look.
She does look like
I thought it was Salma
Like, they
Hayek.
could be
I was like, there's
cousins
no
or
way. Yeah, I was
sisters.
like, there's no way that she's in this movie. I had to look it up. I was like, this was even 1994. Salma Hayek.
There's the Brendan Fraser
was doing other.
Oh yeah, there's the
other
Brendan
stuff.
Fraser cameo.
Don't eat
yeah,
the
that's
chicken.
right, so we can
Don't
talk
eat
about
the chicken.
Tastes
Tastes like frog.
Which doesn't he eat a frog?
He eats a piece of
He
bread
steals the
or
piece
something.
of chicken like off there.
No. But in
Encino Man.
Encino Man.
In
Yeah,
Encino
he
Man, he
uses
eats
a
a frog.
lighter
Yeah.
and he cooks the frog and eats it.
And then in Son-in-Law, he eats the frog out of
So it's just Brendan
Kroll's
Fraser
hat.
showing up and eating.
basically.
I would totally take more movies with Brendan Fraser just doing those weird
I would
cameos
take more
now.
movies with Pauly Shore and his like gang of dudes.
So with
Kinda
Andy
like
Dick,
Sandler.
Pauly Shore.
I don't know. They
I don't know
might
about
have
Andy
to
Dick.
leave Andy Dick out.
But the
I
guy-
think Andy
they-
Dick's
he's
had
got-
a
he's
bit
got-
of a train wreck of a life going
No,
on.
but the one who plays who acts next to him in Biodome.
You're talking about the
thought that was
Baldwin
Andy Dick.
brother, Billy Baldwin?
Yeah,
or-
Billy Baldwin.
It's one of the Baldwins. I don't know if it's Billy or
I'm
not.
gonna look it up real
It's
quick.
not Alec because he shot somebody.
Oh God.
Oops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wait, did that movie come out?
I don't know. He
It
shot
was on-
somebody. in
Yeah,
it.
he shot someone in it, but like, did it? I mean, everyone still worked hard on it.
Crow,
I mean, you gotta
the Crow came out, and
show
Bruce
must go
Lee's
on.
son unfortunately passed
Yeah,
during
Bruce
that
Lee's
movie.
kid.
But-
Man,
Brandon
that
Lee.
movie has a 4% on Rotten Tomatoes. That sucks.
It does. But so anyways, so they're his girlfriend's in the shop with him, and she
Steven.
saves his job.
Stephen Baldwin.
Steven
Baldwin.
Steven.
Yeah. Steven. So she saves his job by
Yep.
like purchasing a big TV, and they go in the back behind this row of TVs, and they're just about to like Pauly's like all about it. He's
Yeah.
like, let's just do a quickie
Let's
right
bang.
here.
Let's bang.
do it. And then Andy Dick grabs the video camera that's connected to every TV in the
Right.
store.
And then the dickhead guy that's like,
Yeah.
hey, the boss wants to see you. I told him you were playing video games.
Yeah, thanks.
He like
Oh,
runs
gosh.
off like, what's wrong with you,
Oh,
dude?
what video game are they playing?
It's like Tank Destroyer or
yeah,
something.
something
like
like
that.
that. It's like Operation Desert Storm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's something like that. It's
Yeah.
like called like Apache or something.
We could probably look it up, but honestly, so they go back there, they
Okay.
get caught, and then on the way out, they knock over about 20 TVs and get
Yeah,
fired.
he tries to jump. He tries to beat Andy Dick Jack's ass for
That's
filming
right,
him.
for filming.
Yeah.
Which that's the most
Jack,
pervy
turn it
thing
off.
you could do,
Turn it
bro.
off.
Dude, in this whole movie, he is straight perv to the bone.
Bro, but like it's weird. It suits him, but it also doesn't suit him because you're like, you know what Andy Dick is really about, and then also you're like, but that's also Andy Dick.
Yeah.
All right, sure.
Yeah.
I'll go with it.
It's called Return Fire.
Return Fire.
Yeah, I never would have got that.
Man.
Not in a million years.
It's got like a third person shooter section like the Punisher, and then there's like the top down like tank part. It's a pretty good game.
I will take your word
Is
for
that
it.
Super Nintendo or is that
I think that's like NES or even it
NES.
might have been Neo Geo.
Neo Geo?
They call me Neo Geo. Oh, wait, that's Mellow Yellow.
Oh, hold on. There's probably one of those laying around in here somewhere. We could
What,
find
a
it.
Mellow Yellow?
You think we can find it?
Probably.
Probably a Mellow Yellow and a Neo
don't-
Geo.
That's no longer yellow.
There's a whole lot of nothing in that case.
No, I think Neo Geo is probably one of the only consoles you can't find in this room.
Yeah.
There's an Atari in the closet.
Yeah,
Wow.
but that's not a Neo Geo.
I think we need to find a way. We need to like find a way to display like some of these, like just put them up on the wall so we can have them
Yeah.
out.
And we
Cleaning this room was a
Cool.
big ordeal to get in here, so
Oh man.
Yeah.
I know.
one thing at a time.
One. Baby steps.
Baby
steps.
Baby
And we're
steps.
good. We're good. But we're baby stepping in the right
We'll
direction.
decorate as we go.
Yeah, but in the movie,
Yeah.
so they get fired, and then they meet these Army Reserve guys on a miniature golf course. And Pauly Shore's like, "Is it true when you join the Army you have to give your whole life away?" And the guy's like, "Nah, not us. We're in the reserves." And he's like, "What's that?" And it cuts to them in an Army recruiter's
Yeah,
office.
the recruiter's office.
And he's like, "Let me get this straight. After basic training, we owe you 2 weeks a year, 1 week in a month for which we get paid.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you're going to throw in $2,500 just for signing up."
yes.
This is crazy. Why doesn't everybody know about this?
Yeah. And then
Well,
I think
they
I should tell everyone.
We do try to advertise. It's one of my favorite parts of the movie is when he just starts naming the different taglines of the branches where he's like, "Oh, it's not a job, it's an adventure.
No, that's the Navy.
The few and the proud,
That's the Marines.
keep going, going, and going."
That's the Energizer Bunny.
yeah.
Gentlemen, we're be all you can
be all you can be.
in the army. You
Yes.
need us and we need you. It's a win-win situation.
Yeah, then he's like, I just have one more question for you. You got a pen?
You got a pen?
You got a pen?
And Andy
Yeah.
Dick's like, hold the phone.
Yeah, he's
Let's talk
he's
about
like,
this.
No, come on. And he's like, come on. This is how we start our store. We get rich. They want to start their own stereo store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he's like, this is how we do it. Look, we only have to 2 weeks a year, and then they're going to throw in $2,500 times 2. That's $6,000.
I had a hard time getting through this movie and like being like, I love this film.
Dude,
I think
it's-
I watched this like at least
It's
10
great.
times in the summer.
This was like my number one. Like I remember vividly people walking in the room and being like, "You're watching this movie again?" And I'd be like, "Shut up! I like it."
It's my thing. I'm
So
doing
there used
it.
to be another TV right here.
Yeah.
And you could play video games on this TV and watch movies on this TV.
I think
That
we
was the
should go-
TV that me and Conan O'Brien became best friends on.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think we should hit up Goodwill, see if we can find an old box tube and just throw
I
up
mean,
some
we
old
have,
movies
like-
on there.
Oh,
We
trust
should.
me.
There's
I got
there's
plenty of
TVs
TVs
like
sitting
around
around.
the house that we could just hook up.
I got a 55-inch flat screen sitting on the floor in my house right now.
We're good. I have
could just roll
I have like
it
a
in.
30. I have like a 32-inch flat screen in my closet.
What else do you need? We can just roll that in.
Yeah, we got
This
it.
is the Radio Shack
Yeah.
of the 90s.
I
It's
told
back
you.
in here. Well, I love because I can see like with there's old games we used to play, and there's definitely all the consoles and stuff. We just need to I think we just need to put them up, man, and,
Yeah,
and
we'll
display them so
them.
people know.
We'll
But
decorate.
this is great.
Yeah.
No, so they get recruited and they think, okay, what's going to be the easiest job?
Yeah, and no,
Where
he's
can we
looking through
go?
he's looking through a brochure and he's like,
Yeah.
and we get a special skill, and the guy's like, oh yeah, combat fire missile op. You know that's combat training. You have to go to combat to get paid for that. So he's like looking through them, and he's like, and you hear him like Andy Dick signing to the guy like, no, it's okay. Like we're not interested. And he's like missile water purification. I'm telling you, water purification. Snap, my brother's a pool man.
That's it. That's the guiding
brother's
light.
a pool man.
The guiding light of inspiration
brother's
for
a
this
pool man?
character is that his brother is a
Yeah.
pool man, and he's like, and the whole reason, like Andy Dick even points it out, he's like, the whole reason you're first
Private first class.
first class,
Because your brother's a pool
because
man.
your brother's the pool man. That's right. No.
Well, they go to basic training and they meet probably one of the best characters of the entire movie, which is
Drill Sergeant Ladd.
Jill
Yeah.
Sargent Ladd.
Dude, that lady
Easily one
Who
of
is
the
this
funniest
like
the
4'8"
best
black
actor.
lady?
yeah,
in the whole movie.
Yeah.
yeah.
She, I thought maybe they got a real drill sergeant to come in and do like they did for
Full Metal Jacket?
Full Metal Jacket with
Or Bob Ross.
Gunner.
Bob Ross. Was
I'm sorry, did you say Bob Ross?
Bob Ross was a drill sergeant in the Air Force before he became a painter.
Bob
yeah, but he was in the
Ross.
Air Force. They're like,
No
let's go
way.
fly planes. I'm
No
kidding. They're
way.
not. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. No disrespect.
That is crazy.
You
But
can
like
fact
that's
check-
like
I don't know if it was the Air Force, but you can fact check it. He
But
was
that's
a
like
drill
hearing that Mr. Rogers was like a
Air
sniper.
sergeant.
Do you hear those rumors? They're like the reason why
No, it would make sense though.
the reason he always wore long sleeves was because he had a big tattoo here that had all his confirmed kills.
Who?
And so he was like
Mr. Rogers?
Mr. Rogers.
Oh shoot!
Yeah. And so
It's a
That's what he did.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Beautiful day.
Now watch me get this little guy coming across that bridge.
Have you
There
heard
go.
the theory that Bob Ross is a serial killer?
What?
No.
Yeah, and his paintings are of locations that he killed people.
Where he
Don't do
put-
that, dude.
Right,
That guy's
dude.
great. Don't do
Gosh.
that.
I saw this like, you know, it's people making these videos for clickbait. So
Yeah.
and
here we are making
Those
the video.
pork rinds and Bob Douglas.
So I'm watching the video and I'm like, gotta go to the comments on this one.
Yeah.
So I go to the comments and it's all these people super pissed off that this person is messing with Bob Ross.
Yeah,
and
dude,
I'm like,
don't do
oh, this
that.
is awesome.
Yeah.
That's what. That's what Bob
people.
Ross like messing with Barney. Like people just like, hey, let's relax.
Yeah, you could kill that purple dinosaur for all I care.
Because
hate that
you
dinosaur.
didn't want to watch it on Saturday morning. He didn't want to watch it
Every
right
morning before school.
Before
Yeah.
school. What
I
did you
wanted
want
to watch
watch?
Sonic.
Sonic. That's right.
And this one and the younger
Too
one were like
fast for the
Barney.
naked eye.
Barney.
Sonic.
But they were little
No,
kids.
I always
Sonic.
loved the PSA announcements. Like somebody was like, "Hey, do you remember like at the end of every Sonic episode, he would have like a little moment like, "Hey kids, don't play with matches" or something like
That's
that."
no good.
That's no good. He
Yeah.
did the one where he's like, "Hey, if somebody touches you in a special area, that's
my God.
no good.
That's no good.
Go find an adult or a police officer."
That's horrible.
Yeah.
They ripped it off from G.I.
G.I.
Joe.
Joe.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
now you
G.I.
know.
Joe's whole thing.
And knowing
Now you
is
know.
half the battle.
Don't swim in the quarry.
Don't
So there's,
swim in the-
well, there's like spoofs of those. If you look them up there, they were making the rounds again on Instagram. They're coming back.
Yeah.
I saw them.
Oh,
They
yeah.
are.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I
there's like,
saw them.
who wants a body massage?
Yeah.
Body massage machine. Go.
Oh man, the
so
things we're
funny.
gonna have to link on our profile for people to
So
understand what
funny.
we're talking about.
Sorry, people are leaving my house, so my phone keeps going up, and I'm technically on call, so I just have to make sure it's not a patient.
You're not on call to go. What are you gonna do? What exactly is gonna happen if you go on call? Do you have to rush to a hospital and be like,
You don't
"Let's
have to
open her
rush.
up"?
You don't have to rush there. Like I get the good thing about my job is I'm in orthopedics, so nothing is like a life or death emergency.
Okay.
which is why I chose my specialty.
That's a good.
And
one.
if it is, they're at the emergency room.
They're with the trauma team, and I'm not touching
Right.
them. I never even get the phone call.
yeah,
Mostly it's just for our patients. Like I'll do a little bit of call at the hospital here and there, but mostly it's
Right.
our patients. So like if they are like running a high fever and they need, medical advice, things like they can call, and then I have to answer. And
you got to be there. You got to be there for
mostly
okay.
post-ops, but
Because I was thinking if you ever had to join the army and stuff like that, I think wouldn't they look at your background and be like,
Medic.
You have to be medic. You have
They'd
to.
probably
be
tell him
medic.
he's flat-footed or his eyes don't work.
yeah.
I got both of those.
I got called queer.
That's okay
Oh,
now.
man.
That's
That
true.
we've moved past don't ask, don't
Okay,
tell.
yeah.
Not
So
in this
let's-
movie.
so
That's
back
how they
in this
try to get
movie,
out of going to
This
Chad.
is early 90s.
Yeah.
That's great. So that's a great segue back. So back into this movie, they go through Basic. It's hilarious.
Basic is awesome.
Basic's awesome
Funniest
because
sequence.
it's
Best
him.
part, my favorite scene one of my favorite scenes of this movie is drop the pin, throw the grenade. Drop the pin,
Drop
throw the
pin,
grenade.
the grenade.
Drop the pin, throw the grenade.
Do you understand? Yes, First Sergeant.
He pulls
Execute.
the pin,
Drops
he
it.
throws it, and he drops the grenade.
Move it. Move it.
Grabs it, throws him out of there, and then he's like, "Wow, you saved my life, for Joe Sargent. I owe you one.
Yeah.
No, you owe me 50."
Yeah, the best is they get off, and the first thing he says to her is, "Hello, sweet pants."
Oh my God, yes.
Oh, Andy Dick says that to the
No,
Joe Sargent.
Pauly Shore says it. to her.
Pauly-
That's the
to
first
really?
time that she
Oh,
makes him do
wow.
push-ups
And-
is when he calls her sweet pants.
Sweet pants.
This,
I'd
this
make 'em
movie
do
gives you a
push-ups,
really
too.
good bit of life advice if you watch it. Is you learn about the gig line.
The
Yeah.
gig line.
The gig
Yeah.
line runs down your collar,
Down your collar.
into your belt buckle, down the seamy zipper.
Yeah. And then you keep. Well, and then, so they're trying to
See
get
it?
off the bus.
Learn it. Do it.
Do it.
Well, one of the best lines, I think, though, was when they're trying to get off the bus.
Oh
And they're all
yeah.
yelling at each other. And Pauly Shore's like trying to comfort Andy Dick, Jack. And he's like, "Listen, bud, just remember, it's just like his childhood." And he's like, "Oh, you're right. It is just like my childhood." Wait, My childhood sucked. It was terrible. I'm not getting off the bus. And then the drill sergeant comes along.
Get the hell off the truck.
Yeah. And then what does he say to her? He's like,
no, he goes, the last thing I need is to be yelled at by some big muscle-bound drill sergeant. No, I can't do it. She goes, get the hell off the truck. And he goes, oh, she can drill me anytime.
Yeah, she can drill me anytime.
Right. Jeez, they just went over. I felt like it was like over a little. It was like, okay, that's fine, spoon-fed, spoon. It was like, that's a little over in some of these places. Like,
it's
especially
always him.
Well, like, it's always him, because especially like later in the movie, they have their first like combat moment. Like, they're in Chad.
You mean combat?
Combat.
I thought you meant like combative. Like they were like arguing with each other.
No, they're combating.
I didn't know.
Am I saying that weird?
Is it like a fight with cum?
I feel like I'm saying that weird. Combat? No. We made Trey upset. Trey's like, no, thank you.
Things that make you go blur.
No, so they shoot a gun, they shoot a weapon, and then like Andy Dick's like, hey, did you know that after like something dangerous,
after a near-death experience, there's often a desire to have sex?
Yeah, and
so Lori Petty's character.
Is like,
I feel it, Jack.
I feel it. Yeah, and he's like, just never. With you, ever. The whole time, he is just trying to get into something's pants, dude. Like, I don't think Andy Dick would even care. Like, it feels over.
Well, he makes the argument right there where he's like, where she kisses Pauly Shore's character, and then that was because they get let's get to the point in the movie. They get lost in the desert because they're in a convoy and their truck gets a flat tire, so they're kind of stuck, lagged behind.
Best thing that happened to them was their truck got a flat tire.
And the convoy goes around the corner, and they're talking about how, man, what I wouldn't do for a double cheesy burger. No, a margarita on the rocks. And then you hear like the pop, 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 pop in the distance, and he's like, or some nice buttery Jiffy Pop, and she's like,
it's not popcorn.
That's not popcorn bones. That convoy is being ambushed. There's like the explosions in the distance.
No, they're like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Then you see a big explosion, and they're getting shot at.
Yeah, the truck rolls by with like the 50 cal on the back, firing at them.
Jeez, yeah.
But then they're stuck out in the desert. And they start walking to find an oasis, a stream that's on the map. And he ends up leading them right to it. And she kisses him because he saved their lives. And then they're sitting around the fire at night, and she kisses him again.
Yeah.
And that's when Andy Dick's like, oh, I saw her first.
Same thing that happened with Gabriella.
And
Margaret Tushman in the third grade. I saw her first.
And then he's like, and that
dude in Palm Springs.
Yeah.
No,
and the lady in Palm Springs.
Supposed to turn out to be a guy. I saw that thing first.
I saw that thing.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I was saying. Like Matt's saying, he's like, it wouldn't matter. It's just somebody's pants he's trying to get into.
Dude, that's it. He's just trying to get his biscuit. Is what's happening, man. And
it's gotta risk it.
At some point, you knew what you do it all for the
noogie.
The nookie.
So you could take a cookie.
And I think that's where like that character missed. Like if you want to say like we have a wet noodle, we should have like over the top. Like do you know what I'm talking about with the Sylvester Stallone?
Yeah.
Where he has to arm wrestle.
Yeah.
Give me back my son.
He's a semi-truck driving arm wrestler.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You never seen Over the Top?
It's called Over the Top.
Yeah.
So we should come up with another one. So we got wet noodle. We should be like, that guy's over the top, because it's just like the character is just like, if
he's OTP.
Yeah, if he had cut that down a little bit, like his character would have been great. It would have been great development. But like, dude, it's just all the time until the end of the movie.
Yeah,
I got tired of it with him. But
absolutely.
Other favorite moments with that was, or the two parts that I was like, whoa, hold on, was that really a thing? Was that women can't be in combat?
Yeah, back in the day,
they could join.
Changed.
I think
couldn't be in infantry.
They couldn't be infantry.
They couldn't be in active combat.
Which I was like, dude, have you seen Lori Petty? Like,
she's Tank Girl,
bro. She's Tank Girl. She was like one of my first '90s crushes. I don't know, like I saw her in Tank Girl with that girl who's really good friends with Nicole Kidman. It was like one of her first movies. She's also an Australian. I'll look it up. Anyways, but like I was like, yeah, put Lori Petty on front lines, dude.
If they want to go fight, let them go fight.
Yeah, let her do it. If she wants to be out there, let her go, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was weird. And then they hear that they're going to Chad, and that they're being called into active reserve.
That's a funny scene too, because they're throwing this big party because they get home from their special. Yeah. No, they get home from specialty training.
Yeah,
from water purification. And he gets this, and they get a call, and it's like this, and he's like about to like have sex with his girlfriend, and he gets a call, and it's like, this is an official message. I saw a flock of wild geese migrating south. And
I
Pauly Shore
repeat,
goes
south.
Yeah, and Pauly Shore goes, well, my goose is about to lay golden eggs, so have a nice flight. Phone up. And the guy calls back, and he's like, the geese are migrating south. And he's like, okay, I'm trying to bury my beak here. Give it a rest.
Yeah.
And he calls back a third time. He goes, look, you saw the goose. I'm the walrus, and Paul is dead.
That's right. Yeah.
And then he tells Jack to answer the phone when he calls back.
Yeah, he's like, some freak calling about wild geese migrating.
And
And
that's
Lori
what Lori
Petty's like,
Petty says,
north
yeah.
or south? And he's like, south.
South.
And she's like, yes. And he's like, what? And she's like, don't you get it? The code?
We're going
about
to
we got
action.
called for active
so we
duty.
know that it's a real call.
And he's like, it's got to be a mistake. She's like, it's got to be Chad.
Yeah. And the whole reason that she signed up for water purification was because we were most likely to go into a desert war, and she wanted to go to combat. so
Desert
bad.
conflict, yeah. And
Yeah.
that makes sense. I was like, okay, that was a great,
Really well thought out.
well thought out script. I was like, okay, those are great reasons for people.
Because
to
they
get
would
her
choose
there.
because
Yeah.
they would choose water purification because they thought
It wasn't going to happen.
exactly.
They
And
would
she
never have to
chose
do
water
anything.
purification because she's like, oh, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It's
it's
happening.
going down. Yeah.
But everybody calls them water boys.
Well, that's the part where she goes to him when she's, why do you think I chose water purification? She goes, I don't know. Is your brother a pool man?
Is your brother a pool man?
which he would have known because they spent like 2 weeks with each other at water purification school.
Well, then they go to Chad, and you meet
Stern.
Well, no,
Stern.
it's the part before that when they're trying to get out of going to chat.
Oh yeah, that's right.
They
Sorry,
go to
yes.
Paul-
Pauly
Yes, sorry.
Shore.
They go to
and-
the
and Andy
deployment
Dick.
office and they
They
tell their
decide-
superior that they're gay.
Yeah.
And
Well,
he-
like they don't even say
They're
gay. They
friends.
just say
Yeah, they're
we're
very
friends.
really close.
We're very close friends.
And then he
I
tells him,
guess
he
you're
goes,
not going to Chad, are you?
and
Yeah.
then they're like, oh, sorry to disappoint you, sir.
One more thing, boys.
Kiss
What's that? Kiss him.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Kiss your friend.
You don't have a problem with that, do you? No, he kisses me every day.
Every day.
And like they're about to do it, and Andy Dick's like, just do it. And Pauly Shore's like, is it hot in Chad?
You can't kiss him. I don't blame him.
No, I loved Pauly Shore's like they kept the camera, they did a close up on him, and he's like kind of like figuring out, do I go like smooth, like real closed lips, and then like he does his last take is like he's open mouthing. He's like like did he go in
Is
there?
it hot in
Oh,
Chad?
is it hot in Chad? Yeah, that got me. So
Then you go to Chad and you meet the first sergeant.
yeah,
Oh,
I
who
wish
is,
you were my first
it's the
sergeant.
dude from it's the dude from Man of the House.
Yeah. He's been in a ton
Can't
of
think of
stuff.
his name.
He's always got like little rules like that.
Yeah.
He plays if he's not playing Babe Ruth, he always plays a native.
Oh, it is the guy
Yeah.
who plays Babe Ruth in
He's
The
in
Sandlot.
he's in Field of Dreams.
Heroes Get Remembered.
Legends
Just
never
never
die.
die.
kid.
That's him.
Legends never die.
But anyway,
I'll look him up.
He gets up and he's like, "Don't you know to address me as
Art-
first sergeant?"
It was Art LaFleur.
Art LaFleur.
Art LaFleur.
Oh, it must be Peter's.
Peter
dad.
LaFleur. You might not remember me from such
It's Troy McClure.
Troy McClure.
Peter
yeah.
LaFleur is from Dodgeball.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, that's right.
Cramming
yeah.
up your cram with LaFleur.
That's right. But yeah, he does the whole like, you will address me as first sergeant.
I wish you were my first sergeant.
Don't you know I'm your first sergeant? I wish you were my first sergeant, but I already had a couple already.
And he tells him to give him push-ups, and you just hear him like, 1 first sergeant, 2 first sergeant.
sergeant.
And he's like, 324 first sergeant.
No,
320.
he goes
100
he's like,
something, yeah.
11 first sergeant, 12 first sergeant. And then he goes 125 first sergeant, and he's like, all right, that's enough. Get up. You did a lot
your
of
feet.
you did a lot of push-ups in basic training.
Yes,
didn't you?
first sergeant.
I gotta tell you, you just did your last push-up. Thank you, first sergeant. You just graduated to peeling potatoes, and it cuts, and he's like 5,431 first sergeant, 5,432
And then
first
his knife
sergeant.
gets stuck, and he's like,
He
ooh,
starts
first
stabbing
sergeant. And he's like, shit, I lost count.
So ridiculous,
So then they get into like a little scuffle with the special forces
dude.
guys.
That part is awesome.
Out of
'cause
all people.
And we get our Brendan Fraser cameo.
Yeah, you get
Yeah.
your Brendan Fraser
Yeah.
cameo, but
They're
he's
in the mess hall.
The guy's in the mess hall, and he's with his eyes closed. He's taking his pistol apart and putting it back together, and they're timing him. And he gets 14 seconds, and Christina's like, he's incredible, and he's like, time me. And he's taking apart his flashlight. He's
Yeah.
like, shoo, shoo,
Yeah,
shoo,
he's making
shoo,
all the noises.
and the spring in the flashlight pops out and hits the special forces guy in the face. And he walks over with the spray. And he's like, "Did you lose something?" He's like, "Yeah, actually, I did." The guy he's like, "You put it in my lasagna." So he goes to hit him with the tray of
One
food.
thing about you water boys is you never eat enough.
You don't eat enough. And he goes to hit him, and Pauly Shore ducks, and he hits the
It's like a captain or
he's
something.
like a colonel.
Yeah.
And he hits him with
like the guy in charge of the
the
whole
base.
place.
Yeah. And he hits him with a tray of food, and he walks up to him, and he's like, "Can I count on you, Sergeant? I heard the mess hall commander needs volunteers for peeling potatoes." And he's like, "Yes, sir." And he walks away, and Pauly Shore goes, "You'll be happy to know on this base there's not one unpeeled potato."
I know for a fact.
For a fact, yeah. There's not one unpeeled potato.
So one of my favorite lines in the movie is they end up like capturing them, like pulling them away from what they're doing, and they're all tied up. And he's like, "How's it feel to be dead, water boy?" And Pauly Shore leads up and goes like, "Ugh, how's it feel to be a dick?"
And then they tie him up in the center of the camp, and the first sergeant comes out. "Who did this to you?
Who perpetrated this?
Yeah.
What?" And he says, "I can't tell you, sir." "Why? Are you afraid?"
You have too much honor?
Yeah, too much. No, I've been threatened with death.
The ways he's like, "No, been threatened with death."
With death.
And then they get put on this mission. That's when the convoy gets attacked, and Pauly
They're
Shore
going to go to the forward UN base.
peacekeeping base, and they get lost in the desert because Pauly Shore's trying to take a shortcut around where they got ambushed, and the truck sinks in the sand.
Yeah.
And so they have to walk away from this water truck, and Pauly Shore's leading them, and they come back to a truck, and they're like, "Oh, we're saved." They're like, "Oh, we're saved," and it's like, no, he's like, "That truck looks like our truck."
Yeah.
They walked in a circle.
In a big circle.
And so
And he's
then,
like, I figured out why we walked in a circle.
the sun.
We got to walk away from the sun in the morning and towards the sun in the evening.
Afternoon.
And they're like, and he's like, "And I know I've let us down before, so here on out, we put everything to a vote." And Christine's like, "No, it's not how the army works.
Yeah.
You tell us, we follow." He's like, "I order us
What do?
to do a sunbaked."
What happens if I'm wrong? Then we die.
Then we got, yeah.
What do you tell? What's your orders?
I order us to do a sunbaked plan thing.
That's it.
We're dead. And so it actually ends up working. They find this river that's supposed to be there, and they run over there, and they're like, "Where's the river? Like, where's the water?"
Yeah, they see the palm
It's just
trees.
Sand.
Yeah.
And a big cobra comes out of these palm fronds that are on the floor. And they're like, "Nobody move." And Eddie Dick's character is like, "Wow."
Oh man, it's a cobra.
He's like, "Oh man, it's cobra." He's like, "Thanks for not moving, Jack."
Quick side story. One year, we were in North Carolina, and there was this. Yes, the side quest.
That's right, I forgot about it.
Do you know why I chose this?
Because it's the Hobbit
The
music.
No. Because we're going on an uninspected journey.
That's perfect.
really
That's perfect. Yes. So where we would go, North Carolina, where my grandmother lived, there was an ice cream shop, and it was right on this river. It was like it was like in between a river and a creek. It was a little bit bigger than a river.
It was a criver.
Yeah, it was a criver.
It was a hole.
It was a reek. But there was these kids there that must have come from somewhere in the South.
Oh, yeah.
They had heavy accents.
Oh, wow.
And there was some kind of snake that was going through the water.
Probably cottonmouth.
Yeah, water moccasin, something like
Yeah.
that. And one of the kids goes, "Hey, look, it's a cobra."
Hey, look.
So now, whenever in my life, if I see a snake and I'm with my brothers, it's, "Hey, look, it's a cobra."
It's cobra.
Chuck, it's so funny, man.
This cobra comes
Love
out of
that,
the palm fronds, and they're like, he's like, "Give me the gun." Pauly Shore's like, "Give me the gun." And
If you don't
attack
scare it,
he'll go away. He's like, "I don't want it to go away. I want to eat it for dinner."
it's like, just stay still.
So he goes,
Don't you and if you don't scare it, it'll go away. And Andy Dick runs off, and he's like, "Thanks for not moving, Jack."
So he gets this gun, and he's trying to shoot this snake, and he misses, and he's like, "I'm still gonna get you," and he turns the gun around and beats this snake to death with it.
Yeah.
And he gets it on the edge of the gun. He's like, "It's a win-win situation." But water comes out of the bullet hole.
Yeah.
So the water was still there. It was just buried under the sand. So they cook the snake, and then he's like, "Okay, now that we know where we are on the map, we go this way." And they find this building, and they think they're saved, but they're at a Syrian base inside Libya. So they get captured and they find Stern, the special forces guy, but he's been shot in the leg.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they're planning on like escaping through the bars in the window, and the base gets
I love the timing.
And the base gets aerated
right
when he pulls the bar out of the concrete.
The air raid siren starts going off.
The first air raid siren goes off, and he puts it back, and the alarm goes off, and he pulls the bar again, and it starts, and he's like, Stern, wake up. I can't turn the alarm off.
So it's not an alarm. It's an air raid siren. Yeah, and he corrects him out of that. Which brings us to the funniest and best part of that movie.
Where they're doing the Pirates of the Caribbean thing.
They're doing the Pirates of the Caribbean thing, but then also when they get into the full combat and they're like, okay, well, Stern, he's like, okay, 15 kilometers from here, there's an
airdrop for the special forces.
So they can get resupply, they can get new clothes, weaponry.
He's like food, water, weapons, medicine, anything you need.
So they get
these
there.
Cool doom buggies.
They get there. And the whole part is they start looking through that. They're like, sweet. And then Jack and Bones go, Hot Wheels.
Well, before that, they steal a truck. From the Libyan base. That's how they escape.
Yeah.
And the truck runs out of gas.
That's right.
And he's like, what is with us trucks? We blow them up. We flat their tires. They run out of gas.
Yeah.
And he's like, we're dead. And he's like, maybe not. And Pauly Shore trades like with an Arabic prince. He trades for a camel.
Yeah.
And he trades
Just
Jack's watch.
Just one.
And he gets one camel. And they put Stern on the camel because
he trades Jack's watch that had a fucking compass on it.
You're telling me we've been lost in the desert for 5 days. You're telling me this watch has a compass. Jack, you're going to get some noogies later. I'm just going to pound you like this.
This whole thing is like, I forgot. I forgot. Which feels like if I had to say it, if I identified with the character, I'd be like, that would have been me.
Like, oh, shit.
That would have been like, oh, I forgot I had a compass on my phone.
It's got phases of the moon and a compass.
Dang.
Compass.
Hey, where are my headphones?
Yeah. Like tonight, bringing all the equipment.
I wasn't going to say
all the equipment I was supposed to bring, and I'm like, where is this? I was missing a cable. I had to steal a cable from the back of that TV to get one of our lights working.
I've worn the same pair of headphones that Matt has provided since the first show, and he's like, "Tell you have some headphones," and I'm like, "Where are they?" And he's like, "No, didn't you always bring them?"
You didn't bring them?
Don't worry.
What the hell are you talking about?
Don't worry. Radio Shack.
We got Radio Shack. We got another
Trey's like, "Oh, here are my keys. Go to my truck. It's either in the front seat or on the back seat. There's a pair of headphones." I'm like,
got another one.
"What the fuck is going on? You have headphones just randomly in your car?"
It's been a rough
Perfect.
You never know when you're gonna need to.
It's been a rough first day back.
You never know when you're gonna have to like DJ a rap site
It's
first.
true, I guess. Yeah. He's like, "Oh, I'm ready for." Oh, I can't flip it down. Oh, it's the other way.
Come in.
I'm backwards.
Your landing gear's down.
Your landing gear's down. I was gonna do the.
You gotta do. Bring it in.
I'm ready for Call of Duty whenever you guys are.
Just set for action.
But they trade for a camel and they put Stern on the camel because he can't walk because he got shot in the leg. And they find then they do the Hot Wheels. They find it. And they give Stern medicine. And luckily, Fred's a dentist, so he knows how to, he's like, I think he's infected because he's lost a lot of blood.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, but why is he acting so wasted?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, that's the morphine. Stern, the guy who plays Stern does a great job of acting like he's on meds because he's like, absolutely. The morphine, the better.
The morphine.
So they call the first sergeant, and he's like, Burbank, help us.
Wait, first off, he's like, he's like, hey, help us. We found this to help us. And he's like, wait, don't say my name.
Don't say my name.
You'll be code name. No, what was the first thing I said to you? And he's like, I don't know, something about your clock being broken.
And
that's right.
Close enough.
Flashback to when they first got there. They're standing in formation, and the drill sergeant walks up. And he's like, I'm First Sergeant Williams. If one spring is loose in my clock tell the wrong time. If one gear is loose in my clock tell the wrong time. First Sergeant Williams, clock tell the right time. Do you understand me? And the whole outfit is like, yes, First Sergeant. And Bones turns to Jack, and he's like, what did he say? And he goes, I don't know, something about his clock being broken.
Clock being broken.
So he gives them the call sign Glendale, and then they're Burbank.
Burbank to Glendale, man. Yeah.
And he's telling them about this mission that the Special Forces was doing, and they had seen a camo tent that Bones can't see.
Dude, that's amazing.
And he's
that's the best joke.
Base.
They're like right
the
there.
Whole thing.
That Libyan base. She's
Libyan base.
What
Which
Libyan
Libyan base?
She's like, okay, you see the truck? And he's like, yeah. She's like, what? Oh, that Libyan base, the one of the camo tent. I thought you guys were talking about some other Libyan base.
That's the one. When he goes some other Libyan base. I used to say that all the time because I used to watch this a ton. I don't know why, but this was always on at Zach's house. Not far from here, but we used to watch it all the time. And so we would joke back and forth and be like, which Libyan base are you talking about?
Yeah, I thought you were talking about some
Libyan
base.
base.
I thought you were talking about some other Libyan base.
Libyan base. Jeez, yeah. So you got to paint it.
Yeah,
so they
you
tell
got to
me you got to paint it
with the targeting laser. And so basically, like, Bones, like, rallies them. Like, we're all not, like, just some middle-aged people from Glendale, which Fred was definitely not. He's a dentist. But
yeah, but he was in his last year of dental school. He hadn't become somebody.
Yeah,
but he's like,
working the night
he's like, Fred, when you got here, you were scared of everything. Now look at you, you're G.I. Joe, fighting man from head to toe. And he's like, Christine, I know you're with me, and she like spins the gun, and he's like, nice.
Yeah.
And then he's like, and then he goes to Jack. He's like, Jack, you were just a screw up. And he's like, you're still a screw up, but if you do this, you have something to tell your little screw up grandkids.
What a legacy to leave. That's I love that part of that. When he's like, you're a screw up. There's no development in you at all. Like this guy, he's grown, she's grown. You're still just a piece of garbage. Let's keep moving.
But he's like, Stern wrote down the coordinates.
Yeah.
You can go here and bomb the place. Send the Air Force.
Bomb the hell out of them.
Send the Air Force. But anyway, they have to paint it with this targeting laser, and they do it, and as they're doing it, the base like sees them, and they start attacking them. And Pauly Shore's like, Burbank, help us! And he's like, you have to hold, and he's like, hold. He's like, keep on target. He's like, the target? We're the target.
What does he say?
We got 50 pissed off
60
Libyans
pissed off Libyans coming up here.
How does he get to the point where he's like, he goes, when the drill sergeant or the first sergeant is trying to tell him what to do?
Oh, yeah.
So he goes back to the doom buggies, and they're like, where'd he go?
No. So they get shot at, and they screw up the targeting laser.
Yeah,
Right.
they
And
missed the shot.
The
First wave of
F-12s
jets.
miss the bombs, and he's like, I'm gonna buy you the biggest bottle of champagne in Chad. He goes, yeah, well, don't pop the cork yet.
Yeah.
The bombs missed. And he's like, what? He's like, the base wasn't hit.
Send another airstrike. So he says, okay, they're 3
minutes out.
They're 3 minutes out.
He's like, in 3 minutes we're gonna be shish
and
kebab.
then he runs back to the doom buggies, and he comes back with the bazooka.
Yeah.
Earlier in the movie, he's in basic training.
Yeah.
And he has the bazooka, and like a general walks up and he goes, Private, you got that weapon around backwards. And Pauly Shore's like, oh, thanks.
Yeah.
And instead
He
of
just
turning it,
says-
he just rotates it. And the first sergeant comes over, his drill sergeant comes over, and she's like, you see the picture on front of this weapon?
Yeah.
And it shows the guy holding the grenade. She goes, it's put there for privates
It's
like you. And he flips it around and puts the
Idiot-proof.
shoulder thing down. She goes, it's idiot proof.
So he goes back there and he gets the bazooka and comes back up on the hill. And as he's trying to figure out the instructions for all of it, the first sergeant's
Report the situation.
Glendale, come in. And he's like, he picks up the things like, shut up.
Yeah.
He puts it down. And
He's like, you tell me to shut up again.
I'm going to rip out your spine and use it as a putter or nine
putting
iron.
iron.
Yeah, putty iron.
And then
Pauly
he's like,
Shore
he picks it back up. He's like, shut up. I'm not good with directions. He's like,
he's reading the directions and he's like, set range if known or estimate. He turns to Jack. He's like, who came up with these directions?
And this Jack's holding, I don't know.
Meanwhile, like Fred and Christine are like shooting Libyans.
yeah, because the Libyans are still coming up the hill. There's like 60 people trying to kill him.
He grabs it
Well,
and he actually
shoots
has it. He actually has it the right way around, and he gets like he almost gets hit with a bullet, and he's like and he falls over and he stands back up. And the best part of the movie, he goes, "Suck on this one time," and he presses the button and it goes back.
Shoots backwards.
And then you see him look at them, and they're all looking at him. He's like, "Oh, sorry."
And then they hand him the second one, and they're like, "You have one more
Last
shot."
chance, my
Last
friend.
chance, my friend.
And
yeah.
he shoots it, and it goes into like a munitions tent,
Yeah, like
and
the
like
fuel
blows
depot.
up this entire base that had like chemical warheads.
Yeah.
And then so he's like, "Okay, guys, we did. Now we got to scream like hell on the count of 3. Make them think we have 50 guys
50
up here."
guys.
And they start screaming and shooting, and they start running away. And he's like, "Oh my god, it worked!" But it's then you see Apache helicopters.
like
the
5.
Apaches, coming over the
The
ridge.
second
Yeah.
airstrike is
Oh,
coming
man.
in.
Well, the airstrike already hit when, like, as soon as he exploded everything, like the planes flew over and
Yeah.
dropped their bombs, and then like as he stands up and he's like, "Yeah!" The Apaches,
like, "This
the
one-"
guy's like, "Get down!" Like pulls him, and the Apaches go like right over top
Yeah.
of
He's
him.
like, "This one's for the Glendale Reservists.
Reservists.
2 weeks a year, 1 weekend a month. We're the few." We're the proud. We're the water boys. I love that part.
Well, then they go back to civilization, and the first officer comes out, and he says, "You boys ought to be damn proud of yourselves.
Damn pleased with yourselves.
Damn pleased with yourselves.
Yeah.
A fine job you did.
They did a good job. They're still in the reserves, and I kind of wish they were leading up to like in the Army now too, which I would have totally been into.
We forgot to mention that when he gets to the missiles to the doom buggies to grab the bazookas and stuff,
the camel.
Libyan had snuck behind them.
They're like, the Libyans got him at gunpoint, and out of nowhere the camel comes that they had like sent off, freed into the desert.
You gotta go be free now. Yeah. You gotta go be all the camel you can be.
So the camel pins the guy to the ground, and then they have the camel back with them in Burbank, in Glendale.
That one of the Apaches flew the camel back to base.
That's right. So he's an American hero now.
That's right. So then when the first sergeant is congratulating them, he's like, you guys did a great job out there. And he says, it's not a job, it's an adventure. It wasn't a job for sergeant. It was an adventure.
Oh, man. So the movie wraps. They're back in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
They literally open their store.
With
Jack
the camel.
What do they call it?
Jack and Bones' Palace of Stereos.
Yeah, Palace. And it's literally right next door. Name. Yeah. But it's right next door
to the Army recruitment office.
And
the guy comes in and he goes, "Is that Jack and Bones?" He's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "It's a win-win situation."
Win-win situation.
Yeah, the two guys that look like them come running up.
Yes,
they're like, "It's 2 weeks a month, 1 week in a year." Yeah, they're like, and then those were the wet noodles. That guy's a wet noodle.
Those guys.
It's like
that guy's a terrible actor.
Because they were supposed to be like, they just keep getting people like Jack and Bones, and they just keep getting to sign up, which gives me real confidence in our armed forces.
Yeah, but look, it's now full-on fight machines.
They did, They did their job.
G.I. Joe fight man from head to toe.
You do 50,000 push-ups in basic. It'll turn you into a real soldier.
Well, I gotta ask, so these movies, there's a few of these movies from the 90s where it's like, okay, this was definitely like a hilarious, funny comedy. And is a great film. I love this movie, but there is parts of it that feel like a little commercial for like the Marines or the Army and stuff like that. Were there any times in your lives where you thought maybe I'll join? I'll go join up. When do you think of doing it? Was it because of these movies?
No.
Or? No.
In high school, we took what's called the ASVAB test, which is like a military aptitude test.
Oh yeah.
And I thought it counted. I thought it was like the PSAT. And so I took it pretty serious, and I scored in like the 97th percentile for like military training, which basically is like, hey, you're really good at doing what people tell you to do. And I got a call from like a staff sergeant or something, and my dad's like, what? And he's like, yeah, we just want to talk to your son because he took the ASVAB and he scored really well. It's like, is he around?
Yeah.
And my dad like gave me the phone. And he's like, who was that? And I was like, he was a sergeant. I can't remember his last name, but he gave me like his name, rank, everything.
Yeah.
He was calling from West Point.
Wow, dude.
And he's like, oh, do you play any sport? He's like, I see here you play baseball. And I was like, yeah. He's like, you ever thought about playing D1 baseball? And I was like, yeah.
Nice
and he's like, West Point has a team. And I was like, and so like I was telling my dad about it. My mom was like, absolutely not. And I was like, damn it. Yeah. So that was when I like seriously thought about going to West Point.
You probably would have known what's going on at Bayside of these aliens right now.
I'd probably be in Afghanistan.
Yeah, have you watched that video?
Which one?
The 50-foot alien. It's very clearly
the 50-foot
shadow and a cloud of smoke.
Oh yes,
that's like the one at Bayside.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, there's an alien. There's like smoke from like burning fireworks and stuff, and it's like a shadow goes through, and it looks like an alien might go by, but it's like that's very clearly a shadow in smoke.
Tyler, did you ever think of signing up? Did you ever have a moment where you're like, oh, maybe?
I was a senior in high school when 9/11 happened.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So yeah, there was definitely some thought of possibly joining at that point. Yeah. I mean, the patriotism was stupid high at that moment, especially since we had two kids it happened when I was in my second period class. We watched the second plane hit.
Yeah.
Then we moved to my third period class, and there were two kids in that classroom that said America deserves this.
Oh.
And me and my best friend had to be held back as we and these are like like little boys. Like they were like one of them was a freshman in high school, and one of them ended, and the other one was our age, but he was like a tinier guy. He ended up joining the Navy.
Oh, okay.
And it's like that's the most confusing stance I've ever heard.
But he wanted that $2,500.
He wanted that $600.
He's one of the seamen.
He's a seaman. He is a real seaman. But
first of all, no one deserves that.
I got a lot of respect for the armed forces and for the military. We got a lot of family members who served, and
our oldest brother was like this close to being a Marine.
I thought he was,
dude.
Yeah,
he went through all the basic, and then had an asthma attack that almost killed him.
You can't have asthma and be a Marine.
Well, so what they were gonna do, because he was at basic at Parris Island, South Carolina,
which is
and the pollen count was higher, like it was off the charts,
ridiculous,
and
it's like 1,000,000 degrees.
They put him in the full rucksack. The last thing he needed to do as far as physically was this 26-mile hike in full gear. And he got through most of it and then had an asthma attack, and they had to intubate him and like all this stuff.
Yeah, and I think like the last 7 miles you have to like run.
Oh wow!
Like it's not like sprinting, but you have to like jog.
It's a light jog.
Right. Yeah. So they were gonna
40 pounds of equipment on your back.
Yeah,
easily.
So they were gonna basically they offered to discharge him like he was never there, so that he could come back and do it again and be a Marine.
Yeah.
And he was like, "You want me to go through all of basic training again? Nah, I'm chilling. Like, whatever." So
you can be like,
don't blame
did that.
Don't blame.
There's certain branches that you can be in if you have like medical issues, but the Marines isn't one of them.
Well, I got flat feet and I got horrible eyes, so I know the glasses that they.
You can't be an Air Force pilot. They'd still probably take you.
We didn't cover that where they go and they get the haircut.
Oh yeah,
and then they come out, and Andy Dick is like, "Would you look at these?" Yeah, talking about his glasses.
But those
like, "Oh, you look unique."
No, idiotic.
They're
unique. Yeah. They broke the mold and they made you, Jack.
Yeah, and he's like, "Really?" Yeah, and right as they turn to walk away, like 9 people come out looked exactly like Andy Dick with the glasses on.
I think they purposely found like 6 other dudes that look like him. Like Andy Dick.
Sure.
Yeah,
100%.
They could have gone, man. Oh, but this movie's definitely on a like you said, it's on your top 15. I would say it's definitely in my top 100.
Like maybe not like all time, but it's definitely in like my top 15 like nostalgic movies for me.
I would watch
just
this
because like I've watched it so many times,
and I'd watch it again. And this gave Lori Petty, is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Lori. So after this is where they were like, "You should be Tank Girl." Which was a comic book in the 80s and early 90s. And then they were like, okay, let's start doing comic book movies. Okay. And that was literally one of the first ones. And it mixes that live action.
See, Pauly Shore started the MCU.
So, yeah, Pauly Shore. We have Jon Favreau and Pauly Shore to thank for the Marvel films. That's right,
He could play like Plastic Man. Like a non-serious comic book character.
Oh, that'd
He'd
be
actually
great.
be pretty good at that character.
I definitely want more Pauly Shore.
Yeah, the guy's and he's like genuinely funny.
Yeah. And generally a nice guy. Have you seen him in interviews? He's been on Instagram.
He was on
and
Rogan and stuff. Well, his parents used to own the Comedy
dude.
Store in LA.
His mom.
Yeah. So I mean, his roots are well established. He knows what he's doing.
But no, this movie, and I didn't realize how much I quote it until we watched it, and I was like, oh my god, I say like 30 lines from this movie almost daily.
Oh my god, this is like half my life.
Like we'll be playing zombies or something, and like we'll be shooting at something, and like Tyler will miss, and then I'll be like, last chance, my friend.
I don't miss.
I don't miss.
I don't. Yeah, who's missing?
Kidding.
Sorry, miss. What do you say?
Sorry.
What is that? I don't know.
You weren't playing with me.
Are you talking to a lady boy?
Are you like Mr. Rogers out there?
That dude in Palm Springs that turned out to be a guy.
That's right. Oh man. So
I saw him first too.
This movie definitely it peaks for me. It's definitely a perfect '90s kind of like awesome nostalgia film for me, and definitely worth a rewatch. And where'd you find it? I found it on YouTube. And we have it on DVD.
I have it on DVD if you guys want to come over and watch it.
Playroom's open.
The one on YouTube, there is a free one, but the sound cuts in and out on some scenes. It's not that bad. If you watch it with subtitles, it's fine.
Yeah.
Or just during those parts, turn subtitles on.
Yeah, but I think we have to rent it. I don't think it's free anyway.
No, there is.
Oh, it is?
On YouTube. It's
on YouTube?
They have
you can get it for free on YouTube.
Okay, but you have to sometimes deal with some quality.
There's two parts for about 3 or 4 minutes where there's just no sound.
Sweet. All right.
But it's not your computer, it's the video.
It's not your fault. It's not your internet.
It's not you.
It's not your dial-up.
I kept
making it up at night.
I'm watching on my iPad. Like, what's wrong with this thing?
Yeah.
What did I do?
Did I break it?
I thought because I was listening to it in the car and I thought the Bluetooth was cutting in and out. And I was like, oh, crap. Truck has enough issues.
Yeah, the truck is coming down.
I rented it on iTunes or Apple Play or Apple TV for $3.99, I think.
Yeah, that's what I did too.
Yeah.
Well, not YouTube, but for like $3.99.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a fair price for Pauly Shore.
Yeah, $4 for
I'll do
like
it.
48
$4
hours of
Yeah.
in the Army now.
Yeah,
I
it's
can
worth
do
it. It's worth it. I think it's worth it. But anyways, yeah,
Good
so
watch.
that's, man, we are so grateful for y'all for tuning in and
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
up and showing up. Happy New Year
I
to
will
you.
say that my best friend called me up last week on Friday
Oh,
and
yeah.
was like, yo, what the hell? Where's the episode? And I'm
Where's
like,
the episode?
yeah, dude, we ended up pushing the break to 3 weeks. Sorry about that. And he's
Yeah.
like, what the hell?
You said
What
2
the?
weeks.
And then he also said, oh, and by the way, that was me that the record scratch scared the hell out of me.
Oh, yeah.
He was driving to work like super early in the morning out on the road. And it was like, he's like, whoa.
I'm sorry, buddy.
That's funny.
I'm sorry, buddy. I'll try to do better at mixing those sounds in.
That's funny.
Especially with the Shire music coming in and when it does. But yeah, I'll do my best. But yeah, thanks again for watching. I hope you guys
Definitely.
had a wonderful Happy New Year. We're looking forward to this next season. This is officially season 2. We're calling this season 2 of Nostalgia Land, and we're back in the playroom. As always, you can check us out on Instagram, Facebook, on a podcast, anywhere you can stream podcasts. TikTok.
On the clock.
And we got Trey rolling in his back to the playroom. We're getting his account set up.
We just played through Donkey Kong Country.
Yeah, you're gonna
I
have some
beat that
clips.
game a lot faster than I thought I would.
That's good though. I think you should do a speed run. I think you should see like how quick you can do it.
If you watch speed runs of Donkey Kong Country, that game took me probably almost maybe a little less than 3 hours to beat.
Yeah.
The speed run world record for that game I think is 15 minutes.
No way.
If that.
Okay.
Like,
well, you got a goal then.
I saw a guy doing it. Like I was like, oh, how do I beat this level? Like, because it was the one I kept dying on, and then after I beat it, I was like, am I dumb? Like, did I miss a secret? Because I was playing one level and I discovered a secret by accident. I messed up shooting a barrel and I skipped like the whole level. And I was like, nice. You see me look at the camera like,
awesome.
and then so I was looking at the speed run and like this dude never stops moving. It's just like beep 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 beep, beep done.
Yeah. Oh, good.
And then he goes to the next level.
It's crazy how like when I was watching you play, how much you notice if you just are like instantaneously moving, like constant bam bam bam. It's set up like the stuff that's moving and
like the
blocking,
enemies are set up
it's
for
when
you to hit.
hesitate
Yeah.
that you have to stop and
Can't
slow
hesitate.
down.
Yeah.
He who hesitates masturbates.
There it is.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, it's funny because
That's life advice I could live by.
There you go.
I
Yeah.
played games like
It'll get you there.
Castlevania where like it's all about like taking your time. Like
Yeah.
Super Ghouls and Ghosts, you have to do the same part like 6 times to not get hit. And it's playing Donkey Kong. They're like, move
Yeah.
now, go.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Go go
Just keep
go
swimming.
go
Yeah,
go go.
But well, you know, I'm thinking about what I'm gonna play next. I may
Yeah.
do like Super Mario
Any
World or
ideas?
something.
Any suggestions as
Let me
far
know.
as this show or Back to the Playroom? Let us know your thoughts, your ideas. Check out our Shopify store.
Yep.
You can link them through the Instagram.
And also on Etsy.
We got some really quality products up there. Matt's
Yeah.
been doing some good stuff with some different ideas as far as Mickey and him becoming
It's public
public
domain.
domain.
It's
and,
public
and
domain.
Our
at least for
let's
now.
go back to welcome back to Problems with Troy
Welcome
shirt.
back
That's
to
my favorite
Problems with
one
Troy.
for sure.
Well, I definitely think we need to do the Glendale Waterboys.
Glendale.
Glendale from
Totally
this
could.
episode, absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, we
on
are
the back,
on Etsy.
put a picture of the camel, and underneath, put my man.
We're like on definitely on our Etsy shop. We got a lot of great people moving, and basically what that funds go back to is to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it goes back to this to help us, decorate the rooms, buy better equipment, bring more
Soundproof
content,
So we can all look as comfortable as Trey.
so we can look as comfy as him, man. Because this dude's in socks and sweatpants over here.
Hey man, these are Dockers. No.
These are Dockers. Anyways, thanks for joining us again. As always, I'm Matt.
I'm Trey.
I'm Tyler. Cowabunga.